3 minutes now to the gentlewoman from Texas, a member of the Energy and Commerce Committee, Ms. Fletcher.
The gentlewoman is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. Pallone. I rise in opposition to H.R. 6192, the Hands Off Our Home Appliances Act. With everything going on in our world and in our country today, I, like Leader Jeffries, am disappointed that the precious time we have on this House floor to move legislation is dedicated to unnecessary, unhelpful, and unasked for bills about home appliances. Rights for refrigerators, liberty for laundry, dignity for dishwashers. How about instead we turn our attention to the liberty and rights and dignity of women in America? In my home state of Texas and across the country, women's rights to make their own decisions about their bodies, their families, and their futures are being stripped away by state legislatures and local governments. Why is it that this majority does nothing for them? For example, as states ban abortion and limit access to reproductive health care, more and more Americans have been forced to travel, sometimes long distances, oftentimes to other states, to get the reproductive health care that they need. In response to the exercise of this constitutional right to travel, one of the chief privileges and immunities for citizens in the Constitution, lawmakers are trying to take this right away too. Multiple cities in Texas have enacted ordinances to prohibit anyone from traveling on their roads or through their towns if the purpose is to get somewhere else to get an abortion. In Alabama, the Attorney General wants to prosecute groups that help women obtain abortions out of state. And just last week, a man in Texas took legal action to investigate his former partner who had traveled to a state where abortion is legal. These things are happening in the United States today, as we sit here today. This unconstitutional interference with our rights and our liberty and our dignity is what this body should be considering. That is what this body should be concerned about. For this reason, at the appropriate time, I will offer a motion to recommit this bill back to committee. If House rules permitted, I would have offered the motion with an important amendment to this bill. My amendment would strike the current bill text and replace it with the text of my bill, H.R. 782, the Ensuring Women's Right to Reproductive Freedom Act. This amendment reaffirms the fundamental constitutional right to travel across state lines for the purpose of obtaining reproductive health care, as well as for health care providers providing care to out-of-state residents and those assisting people traveling for this purpose. At the end of the debate, I will insert into the record the text of this amendment. I hope my colleagues will join me in voting for the motion to recommit, and I yield back.